So let's start with our today's class. The students who are joining us late, please try to join on time, okay, so that we are able to start the class on the regular timings itself. Okay, so previously we had covered variables, if I'm not wrong. We had covered the variable naming conventions as well. That was the last topic that we dealt with. We are right over here right now. Okay, so if you want to change or update the value of a variable, for example, take the okay, I need to just give me a second, guys. I need to bring up the YouTube. I'm not able to see the YouTube comments right now, so I'll just bring my other device so that I'm able to see the YouTube comments as well. Give me a second. It was switched off, so it will take a few minutes to open up. Just wait. 1 second. Okay, yeah, so I'm able to see the YouTube comments as well. So now we can get started with today's class. So what if we want to change or update the value of a variable? For example, take the example of rent is equals to 1700. So we are having a particular variable called as rent, and the value inside of the variable rent is 1700, and now the rent has been increased to 2000 rupees. So how to change that? So that's very simple. The first line you declared rent is equals to 1700. Now you want to change the rent to 2000 rupees. Okay, so what, you don't have to do anything. Rent is equals to 2000, that's it. Okay, rent is equals to 2000, and that's how you change. Now the value inside of rent, okay, you take 1700 out of the box and put 2000 in place of it. So now the value of rent is 2000 rupees. Are you able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. Okay, great. So when we are running this particular line of code, you will be able to see, so it's allocating, initializing, and connecting us to the resources at Google. So it will take some time. Okay. Okay, so as you are able to see, now the rent is 2000, nothing else when you are writing. So rent is equals to 1000 was the earlier value. Now when you are writing rent is equals to 2000, the value inside of rent is now changed to 2000. Okay, that's as simple as that. Nothing too complicated to understand. Okay. Okay, so this is called as overwriting the variable. When a new value is assigned to a variable, the old one is forgotten, so that 1700 no longer exists in the memory. Okay, it has been lost, so it does not exist. So this is called as overwriting the variable. You are overwriting a new value to the previous value. Okay, if we had caused some damages to the property during our crazy house party and we want to pay for them, then we can apply these changes directly to these variables. So rent is equals to 1700, rent is equals to 2000, rent is equals to rent plus 700. So what I'm doing right over here is I'm adding. So so yesterday we had talked about this. Whenever you are having a variable to the right hand side of an equation, it is considered as the value that it represents. It is not the variable itself, but the value that it represents. Okay, so it is rent is equals to rent plus 700. What is the value of rent right now? Rent is equals to 2000. So this rent actually represents 2000 right over here, and 2000 plus 2700 plus 700 would be 2700, and that is the value that would be assigned to rent. Okay, let's check this hypothesis. So you are having rent is equals to rent plus 700. The answer should be 2700, and that is the case. Are you guys able to understand this particular portion? Please do let me know. Nothing too complicated, guys. Very easy concepts. Are you guys able to understand? Please do let me know, guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Also, one more thing, guys, while you are watching these videos, do like the videos as well. It really helps us a lot to see your support being reflected in the analytics as well. Okay, thank you so much. So in the third line, the variable rent is being assigned to itself plus 700. So we are already discussed it. Okay, now such increment operations. So this is called as an increment operation. Okay, that is rent is equal to rent plus 700. You are increasing rent by 700 and storing it again inside of itself. These increment operations are something that will be performed very regularly in any type of programming language. And if that's the case, then you have some shortcuts in Python. Okay, there are increment operators that you can use. Okay, so this increment operator looks something like this. So rent plus is equals to 700 is the exact same thing as rent is equals to rent plus 700. Okay, it's the exact same thing. These two lines of code, that is rent plus is equals to 700 and rent is equals to rent plus 700, is the same line of code. Okay, they both will work the exact same way. So if I'm removing this and running this, you will be able to see that 2700 is the answer that we are getting right over here. You can replace the plus is equals to by minus equals to. That will make it as rent is equals to rent minus 700. That is 2000 minus 700, that is 1300, sorry. Then you can do it as rent is equal to rent multiplied by 700. That will make the answer as 14 lakhs. I guess 14 lakhs itself. Yeah, 14 lakhs. Similarly, you can change it to rent is equal to rent divided by 700. That will bring the answer to 2.85714. Okay, so on and so forth. So I hope that you guys are able to understand what I am telling right over here. Please let me know, guys. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. Amazing, guys, amazing. Okay, so let's move on from right over here. We can actually use this plus equal to operator. So we have already discussed all of these. Now we are going to start off with our data types. Okay, we are going to start off with our data types. Now the first data type that we are going to learn about is the integers and floats. Okay, these are the two data types that we are going to deal with. Now you must have seen some of the numbers that we represented right over here. Now this is a decimal number, whereas when you compare it to just 2000, it's just a normal number. Okay, so these are the different type of numbers that are present in your Python language. So what we are going to do is we are going to learn about these numbers itself. So far the numbers that we have dealt with were mostly whole numbers or integers. But you might have noticed that there are other type of numbers that also do exist. For example, dividing one integer by another gives us a number that isn't an integer. In Python, we represent such a number as float, which is short for floating point number. Okay, so for example, you are having 3 and 2. 3 and 2 are called as integers in Python. Okay, but when you write 3 divided by 2, you get a number that isn't quite an integer. This is called as a floating point number or float in Python. Okay, are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. Numbers with a decimal point such as 3.14 are called as floating point numbers of float. Note that even though the value to 42 is an integer, 42.0 would be a float. Okay, 42.0 would be a float. And if two integers are divided, then also we get float as an answer. For example, if I am writing right over here 4 divided by 2, even though 4 divided by 2 is 2, but as we are performing division over two integer operands, we'll get the answer with the resultant as a float. Okay, not an integer. As you're able to see, 2.0 is classified as a float, whereas if you did multiplication or addition or subtraction, you will get integer as an answer itself. But if you are performing the same thing over and like for example between an integer as well as a decimal point, then the answer would always be a float. Okay, so please remember this. Okay, please remember this, guys. Any type of operations between a float and an integer will always result in a float. Division between integers will always result in a float. Anything between two floats will always result in a float, and anything between two integers except division will result in an integer itself. Okay, amazing. So we can also check the data type of any value by using the built-in function of type. So we have used the built-in function print previously. Now we are going to use another built-in function called as type that returns the type of an object. Okay, so for example, you are having two variables, a is equals to 3 and b is equals to 2.5. So if I'm writing type of a, okay, type, and in the parenthesis we are writing a, it will give us integer or int as an answer. Whereas if I'm writing type of b, b is a float, okay, or a floating point number, so it will give us a float as an answer. That is the type of the object, that is the variable b and a. So that are the class int and class float. So these are the two types of the variables a and b. Okay, so we have already discussed this. Okay, now we can also convert one data type to another by constructing new objects of those types with int and float. When we convert and float to an int, the part after the decimal point is dropped, and hence there is no rounding. So for example, 28.9 when converted to an int, so 28.9 is a float. When we are converting it to an int, the everything after the decimal point just gets removed, just gets truncated. Okay, there's no rounding off of any type. So 28.0, 28.1, 28.8, 28.9 will all get converted when converted to int as 28. Similarly, while converting an int to a float, we just add a decimal at the end of the number. Okay, so for example, if we are converting 3 to, that is an integer, to a float, we just have to write 0.0 at the end, that is 3.0. That is it. Okay, are you guys able to understand this? Please do let me know, guys. For Aryan Sinha, for rounding off, there are other operations, built-in functions that are present in Python. Okay, currently we are not interested in them. We are just interested in converting from int to float and vice versa. Okay, data type conversion is something that we are interested in right now. Amazing, guys, amazing. So let's try to do that. So to create, so for example, 3 is an integer. If I want to change it into float, I just have to write float and then in parenthesis 3. Similarly, 28.9 is an float. Okay, if I want to convert it into an integer, I just have to write int in front of it. So when I am running this particular lines of code, you will be able to see that 3 when converted to float got converted into 3.0, and similarly 28.9 when converted into int got converted into 28. Everything after the decimal point just got truncated out. Okay, just look at these examples, guys, you will be able to understand. Okay, just look at these examples. When we are converting an integer to float, just add 0.0. When we are converting an float to an integer, just remove everything after the decimal point. That is the type conversion in Python. Okay, are you guys able to understand up till this particular point of time, guys? Please do let me know. Amazing, guys. Another point that you, so this is a particular point that you need to know. Okay, this is not taught anywhere. Okay, most of the courses, most of the books as well ignore this point, and this is a very good question that many companies like Google, Flipkart, Microsoft will be asking you in their interviews as well. Okay, so if you are writing Python in your resume that yes, I know Python, this is one of the most favorite questions for the interviewer to ask you. Okay, another point that you need to keep in mind is that float are an approximation to the number they represent. If you're writing 28.9, it's not exactly 28.9. It's a little bit larger than that. It's like 28.90000000123 or something like that. It's an approximation to the number they represent. They are not exactly the number they are written in, as floats can represent very large range of numbers. Okay, you can, so as you are able to see, this is a float that we previously used, and you are able to see how large this number is after the decimal point. So floats are used to represent very large array of numbers, a very large range of numbers. So to range of numbers. So Python must use approximation to represent these numbers to prevent precision, okay, to preserve precision of these numbers. So for example, if you are multiplying two numbers that are decimals, you are dividing two numbers, okay. So for example, you are dividing 2.0 with 3.4, then in that particular case the resultant would be something that will be a huge number in float. So to maintain those decimal numbers, to maintain those decimal points, Python stores these numbers as a bit larger than those numbers itself, so that when you are dividing or multiplying these numbers, these decimal precisions can be maintained in the memory. This is just an optimization that Python uses for its to save its memory for precision uses, okay. Please try to understand this. For example, this floating point number 0.23 is slightly more than 0.23, okay, 0.23, so 0.0000123, something like this, such that if we add 0.23 to itself a few times and check its equality to the expected resultant, it would be different, okay. So for example, if I'm adding 0.23 30 times, so here I have added 0.23 30 times, so what should be the value? Okay, when 0.23 is added 30 times, the value should be 6.9, am I right? So when I'm checking whether the left hand side is equal to the right hand side or not, that is 6.9, whether adding 0.23 30 times results in the same value as 6.9, okay, I will be able to get false. Why is that the case? Because when we are adding 0.23 30 times, okay, Python is not able to identify that these ending digits, okay, 0.23 0000123 when added 30 times may result in something that is a little bit greater than 6.9, and that is a significant value that is greater than 6.9. So it will be like 6.900123. That's a bit great, like it's a bit greater than 6.9. It's not exactly 6.9, and hence Python will show you that the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. As you're able to see, it will show you false, okay. We are checking whether the left hand side, this operator double equal to shows that whether the left hand side is equal to the right hand side or not, and as you're able to see, it's showing false. But what if I'm replacing this by multiplied by 30? If I'm replacing 0.23 multiplied by 30 instead of adding 0.23 30 times, it will show me true. Okay, let's see. It will show me true. Why is this the case? Okay, why adding it 30 times makes a difference, but multiplying it by 30 times makes no difference? Because Python is having an optimization in multiplication. So when you are multiplying it, Python knows that, okay, you are trying to multiply 0.23 30 times. Okay, it does not take into consideration the last few digits. It will multiply 0.23 by 30 times and that's it. But when you're adding stuff up, Python does not know that the first two numbers that you're adding, 0.23 and 0.23, are two different numbers or the same numbers. So it will just add both the numbers, including the ending digits that it has used. Okay, that's why 0.23 added 30 times will be greater than 6.9, but 0.23 multiplied by 30 times is equal to 6.9. Okay. 0.690 will be true, because that's the same thing. Okay, are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. This is a far advanced topic for you, but like this is something that is being asked in interviews right now, so I thought that I will just include it right over here, so that if someone asks you this question, you're at least able to explain a bit. Okay, amazing, guys, amazing. Okay, Boolean data type and comparison and logical operators. Okay, bool is another data type that is commonly used in Python. Bool is short form for Boolean, which can have a value of either true or false. Boolean algebra is the branch of algebra in which the values of the variables are the truth values, that is true or false. So Boolean values, okay, this Boolean Boolean data type, okay, contains only two values. For example, int contains a lot of values, 1 2 3 4 5 6 100 million, so it contains a lot of different values. Okay, similarly float contains a lot of different values as well, but Boolean data type contains only two values, that is true and false, and nothing else. So Boolean algebra is the framework on which all electronic devices are built and exists fundamentally. So for example, you are using, so most of you must have studied your logic gates in physics when you were in school. Okay, if you are from a CBSE background or even in college as well, if you are in engineering in first year, you must have studied about logic gates. Am I right? How many of you had studied logic gates in your college or in your school, guys? Please do let me know. So most of you have studied about the same. So that itself is the Boolean algebra. Boolean are the true and false values, that is 1 and zeros. And Boolean algebra is a, and, or, not, nor, XOR. All these are different type of Boolean algebra that we can use. And we already know that all the electronic devices are fundamentally exist. Every piece of line of code is based on this Boolean values itself. Okay, so in Python we can easily assign Boolean values like this: Python awesome is equals to true, documentation bad is equals to false. So this is how you can create Boolean values and assign them to a particular variable as well. Okay guys, are you able to understand this? Amazing. We can use the comparison operators to compare two values and produce Boolean results like a is equals to 3 greater than 1, print a. So what Python will do is, it will check whether a is greater than 1 or not. If 3 is greater than 1, yes, 3 is greater than 1, so this value will be replaced by true. This value will be replaced by true and a will be printed as true itself. So let us check if our hypothesis is correct or not. So a is equals to 3 greater than 2. Yes, 3 is greater than 2, greater than 1, and then when we are printing it out, we are able to see true on our screen. Okay. Here 3 is greater than 1, so printing out the output gives us the Boolean value true. There are many comparison operators in Python. There is like the greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. So we have already seen one of the comparison operators, that is the equal to operation right over here. Okay, so we have already seen that, not equal to. So there are a lot many number of comparison operators that you can use. Working with Boolean has its own set of operators called as logical operators. So these are the and, or, not, all this type of stuff. These operators are very useful when working with Boolean and evaluates if both the sides are true, or evaluates if at least one side is true, and not evaluates the inverse of the input Boolean. Okay, let's understand this via an example. So for example, rent is equals to 1200. We need to check if this rent is affordable to us or not. So what we'll be doing is, if rent is greater than 1000 and rent is less than 2000. So is rent greater than 1000? Yes, rent is greater than 1000. So this will be replaced by true. Rent is less than 2000? Yes, rent is less than 2000. It will be represented by true. Okay, then true and true. If both the sides are true, what will be the answer, guys? True and true. If both the sides are true, what will be the answer? Can someone let me know in the live chat? Can someone let me know in the live chat? True. Amazing, guys. So this again will be replaced by true. And is affordable? The answer would be true. So let us try to check if we are right or wrong. Let's run this particular line of code and you will be able to see that we are getting true as our output. Okay. Amazing. Here we check that the rent of the house is affordable or not. Here in the second line, we evaluate both the sides, that is rent is greater than 1000. Yes, so it is true. While the second condition is rent is less than 2000. Okay, so it's a printing mistake right over here. It should be 2000, not 200. I will be correcting it pretty soon, but try to understand this. That is true as well, as both the conditions on the left hand side and the right hand side is true. Hence the Boolean value true will be assigned to the is affordable variable. In other words, the rent is greater than 1000 and less than 2000, then only it is affordable. Okay, and here you are able to see how not works. So I am having the same code, the only difference is here I am having not as a logical operator right over here. So this entire thing we have already seen is true. So we are having not true. What is not true? not true is false. Okay, so this entire thing will be replaced by false, and is affordable would be false. Okay, so when we are doing, like, let's check whether we are right or wrong. So we are having false as our answer, as simple as that. The next data type that we are going to study is the strings data type. In the starting itself, if you remember it correctly, we have dealt with a bit of strings. Okay, the hello world code that we wrote, this is called as a string itself. Okay, and now we are going to study about this particular data type. We have already studied about Boolean integers and floats. This is the next data type that we are going to study. Okay, so strings. Python has another data type in its toolkit called as strings. As the name suggests, this data type deals with characters, words, and text. String is an immutable ordered sequence of characters. Now this is a particular sentence that if you don't familiarize yourself with English, you will not be able to understand. But do not worry about the same. We are coming back to this particular line once we have understood a bit about strings. When we have learned something about strings, we will be coming back to this particular line later on, and we'll try to understand what this immutable ordered sequence of character means. So please be a bit patient about the same. Okay, you can create a string by using quotes as seen here. You can use either single or double quotes. They both work equally well. Okay, one more thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, will it be a problem to you guys if we are scheduling this Python and data deep learning bootcamp? Okay, instead of having it at 5 o'clock, can we have it between 9:30 and 10:30 in the evening? Will it be a problem to you guys if I'm scheduling it like that? Instead of having it at 5 o'clock, I want to schedule it after the React.js bootcamp. That is from 8:30 to 9:30, we will be having our React.js bootcamp. And then from 9:30 to 10:30, we'll be having our Python and deep learning bootcamp from tomorrow. Because I want to take this entire bootcamp on my own. Okay, I do not want to have any other instructor coming up and taking the bootcamp itself, because if there's a change of an instructor, you will also not feel connected to with the entire concept. So if nobody is having any type of problem, okay, so from tomorrow onwards, this class, this bootcamp will be scheduled in between 9:30 and 10:30. Okay. Amazing, guys. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It really helps me a lot as well. Okay. Okay, no. So tomorrow, from tomorrow on a daily basis, we'll be having the classes at 9:30 itself for the Python and deep learning. Okay. So keep that in mind. Of course, the links will be circulated. Everything will happen on the WhatsApp groups as well as the Telegram channel as well. Okay. Aniket saying the link is still open for yesterday's attendance. It will be open for 1 more hour after the bootcamp. Then we'll be closing it. So if you want to go and fill it up, do that. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's continue with the same. Okay. You can create a string by using quotes as seen here. You can use either single or double quotes. They both work equally well, but there are some cases where you might prefer one over the other. We will be discussing it below. Okay, give me a second, guys. Okay, so I am back. Let's let's get started again with the class. Okay, so we'll be discussing this below. So you can create a particular string using both double quotes as well as single quotes. There will be no issues with the same. We can use both double quotes as well as single quotes to create a particular string. Okay, so when you are running this particular line of code, you'll be able to see that shape AI, that is the string, is being printed 2 times right over here. Okay, in this example we printed the word shape AI, so we need to change it to def down, and using single and double quotes, and we got the same output as shape AI. We can also assign a string to a variable just like float and int. Okay, so we are having motto is equals to learn code compete intern print motto. So you will be able to see that we are having like spaces. You can have spaces, you can have letters, you can have capital letters. Okay, you can have special characters, numbers, special characters. So anything that you want to keep inside the string you can keep, and as you are printing out the motto, you are able to see that everything gets printed out on your screen right over here. No issues. Those who have missed the attendance link tomorrow, please fill it up after today's class. Okay, it's still open, please fill it up. Okay, string in Python are shown as variable type str. Okay, so for example, if I'm trying to see the type of motto, so type motto, I will be able to see that it is being printed as str right over here. In the evening itself, we'll be having the classes around 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Okay, strings can contain any character, numbers, symbols, space within the quotes. However, if we are having like quotes inside the string, it may give us some error. Okay, so for example, if I'm having this dialogue, okay, Shiva said, "You learn as you grow." Okay, you learn as you grow. So you are having your you will be starting off from a quote itself. Now Python would be trying to find another quote, another similar quote to end this string. So it goes through the entire text, Shiva, okay, no quotes right over here, space, no quotes, said, no quotes, commas, no quotes, space, no quotes. Okay, I'm able to get a second double quotation mark right over here. So Python will be saying that, okay, this is a particular code, this entire thing is a particular code. Now you learn, Python has no values for this, it is not able to understand what this is. It is saying that learn is not defined right over here, as so it is not able to understand why you are using a keyword right over here. You grow, again it's not able to understand. Then again it finds a double quote, it starts off as a string and it's an empty string because the immediate next character is again a double quote, so Python identifies it as an empty string right over here. So when you are trying to run this particular line of code, you will get errors. Okay, you will get errors. So what are your options? How can you use quotation marks inside your string as well? Okay, Ankit saying you will have to visit yesterday's entire class to find out where we got the yesterday's link from. Nobody is going to tell you. All the students have been strictly told not to share or tell where the link is. So you'll have to watch the entire day 1 class again after this particular class to find out where the attendance link is. Okay, okay, so Python provides 2 easy way to handle this particular problem. Okay, place the string in a single quotation rather than double quotes. This will solve your problem for having double quotes within the string, because Python will be trying to find a single code itself. So for example, right over here you are having dialogue. We are starting off the entire string with a single quotation mark. So Python is now trying to find another single quotation mark to end this particular string. So Shiva, okay, no single quotation mark, space, no quotation mark, said, no quotation mark, comma, space, double quotation mark, so no single quotation mark right over here as well. You learn as you grow. Now this is a double quotation mark, again Python is finding just a single quotation mark itself, and at the end it's able to find that, and this entire thing now is your string. Okay, but what if we want to have like a single quotation mark in the middle? Now that will again prove like dramatic for us. It would not work. So what can we do for the same? Python provides another like trick up its sleeve to help us with the same right over here. So what it does is, in the case we can use a backlash to skip quotes, as we are able to see in this example. The backlash helps Python to know that the single quotation mark should be interpreted as a part of the string rather than the quote that ends the string. So we are starting off with a single quotation mark. Python will be trying to find another single quotation mark to end this particular string. So you're having a double quotation marks, Shiva, you, then a backslash. Now what backslash tells to Python is that the next character is not something special. Okay, the next character, whatever the next character is not something special, and you should ignore it. Okay, it's just a part of the string, it's not a special character, it's not the ending of the string itself. So like that, Python skips this particular quotation marks and then starts checking the rest of the sentence, and then it ends at the single quotation mark itself. So now when we are running this particular line of code, you will be able to see that we are getting Shiva, your bag is red. As you're able to see, the backslash is also ignored. So if you want to keep a backslash in your if you are writing a particular line in which you are having a backslash that you want to have inside your code itself, in your string itself, then you will have to write double backslash. That is, you are telling Python to ignore the second backslash. Okay, so right now you will be able to have your backslash inside your string. If you were having a single backslash, it would have just like been ignored. Okay, so it has been directly ignored by string itself. So you will never be doing that because everything right over here has been ignored. So if you want to have, you will be having a double backslash to help it work perfectly fine. Okay, are you guys able to understand up till here? Please do let me know, guys. Are you guys able to understand? Please do let me know. We have almost come up halfway. Okay, there's like almost 50% more left. Okay, do not worry, we will be able to complete it by tomorrow. There are few operators that we can use on floats and ends that can also be used on strings. For example, we can use the plus symbol, okay, for combination or concatenation of two strings together. We can use multiplication to repeat the strings, and let us look at an example of each of them. For example, if we are having two strings, hello and world, if we want to concatenate them into a single string, we can just write hello plus world, and it will concatenate them into a single string as hello world. This will be the string that will be created right over here. Ankit Singh, see, do not tell lies. Okay, all the students are right over here. They are able to see if you are telling lies. Okay, if you have seen the entire video, then you would have got the attendance link. I've never said that the attendance link will be given in the live chat. I've already said that the attendance link won't be shared on the live chat or on the comment section or anywhere else as well. So you will have to go through the entire video to get the link. There's no other shortcut, there's no other options for you. Okay, you'll have to go through the entire video, learn everything, only then you will be able to get the link. You will not be able to get the link like this. Okay, similarly, if you want to have a space in between, you will be able to add hello plus space plus world. So that will give you a word as hello space world. Okay, right over here. So when I'm running this particular two lines of code, you are able to see hello world and hello space world on your string. Okay, here in this example, we can see that using the plus arithmetic operator, we get hello world written together, but this does not this word has no value, no meaning. So we need some space between the words to have meaning. So we can also add another string containing just a space in between to do so, and that is what we have done right over here. Okay, secondly, we can use multiplication. So what is multiplication? It's just addition that many number of times. So when writing word into 5, that means word plus 5 plus word plus word plus word 5 times. That is, hello will be printed out 5 times in a line. Okay, okay, now in this second example, we can see that multiplication operator on a string, we get a repetition of the same words as many number of times as we multiplied the string with. Okay, and the output. Secondly, however, unlike multiplication and addition operators, the other arithmetic operators like division and subtraction cannot be used on strings. Any attempt to do so would result in an error and an unsupported data type for the division or subtraction operation. So for example, if we are dividing two strings right over here, you will be able to see that we are getting an error called as a type error, unsupported operand types for division, that is string and string. Okay. Are you guys able to understand? If you want a space right over here, you can just put a space here and then it will print hello with spaces in between. A useful built-in function for string data type is len, okay, which stands for length. As the name suggests, it returns the length of the object, okay, it returns the number of characters in a particular string. It takes in values in a parenthesis and returns the length of the string. Len is a little bit different from print, as the value returned from len can be stored in a variable as seen in the example below. Okay, this len function puts a value 7 and then it's stored in a variable. So for example, right over here, if I want to check the length of shape AI, that is the length, that is the number of characters in shape AI, it would be word length is equals to length of shape AI, that is 7, and you will be able to see 7 being printed on your screen. We are having some questions right over here. Try to do it on your own, guys. Okay, these are some basic questions that I think so you will be able to answer pretty easily. There is not a lot of difference between the same. Okay, we have kept the questions to a low level itself. Okay, try your best to try to do these tutorials. Okay, it will surely help you out. Again, I am able to see that almost 230 students are live, but most of you haven't liked the video. It will be great. It does not take any time for you guys to like a particular video itself. So please try to like this video. It really helps us a lot. It really keeps us motivated at the end of the day to keep on doing these free boot camps for you guys. Okay. Okay. Type and type conversion revision. Now, till now we have covered 4 different data types: int, float, bool and strings. As you can recall from the previous classes, Python has a built-in function called as type that returns the type of an object. So 75 can be represented in 3 different data types: 75 as an integer, 75.0 as in float, and in string 75. Okay, so when I'm seeing the type of each of those, you are able to see int, float, str and bool being printed on your screen. So as simple as that. Look at the code example. We can see that even though the first 3 values appear to the same, they can be encoded into different data types with their own set of function operations and uses. This is to note that we have called the function print on other function types to print the output of the return value of the function type. In such a case, always the function inside the parenthesis is run first. Hence, it will be type. Okay, so when you are having this entire thing, the function that is present inside the parenthesis will first be run. So type 75 will be the first thing that will be run right over here. So look at type conversion from tomorrow. We'll leave it right over here. Okay, we'll try to finish Python by tomorrow itself, so that day after tomorrow we are able to start with pandas and numpy. There are some of the libraries that we'll be using for deep learning. That is something of an importance. We'll look into it. If it is important for the project, we'll do it. There's no issues, there's no rush as well. Okay, that's one of the things. Secondly, I would like to inform you guys that the current batch, okay, of we are having like 60 students in the batch. The results of those 60 students have came in. Okay, the placements for those students, I can even show you guys the same. Okay, so it came in just yesterday itself. We are still updating the same. Okay, many people have been placed in Flipkart, Amazon and other companies as well, so that hasn't been updated. It will be updated by tonight. We are having Bhavya Kala, who has been placed in Microsoft, Shivam Kumar in Gap. So if you are using, if you know like luxury brands, so Gap is one of the biggest luxury clothing brands in the entire world. So he has been placed in developing their front-end site. Okay, he's a front-end engineer. Then Barik has been placed in Google, so we are extremely proud of her in the data science team itself. We are having people who have been placed in Amazon, Samsung, Barclays, Walmart, Deutsche Bank, Fidelity. We have Digi Health, Cognizant, CasePoint. We are having TCS, Infosys, Qatar Airways. We have students placed in Infosys, Lanson and Turbo, Bale. We have students placed in Deloitte, TCS. Many number of students have been placed in TCS. Adani Solar, ZS. Then we are having Wingman Partners. So this is the VC company itself. We are having students placed in Herman. It's a Samsung company itself. PwC, Esimax. We are having students placed in recruiters. This is a US state university. So she went from an MS right over there, and right now she's an instructor there as well. Genpact, WaveNet, iFortis, Cerebral Technologies, Infinite, Gemini Solutions, iStop. So there are so many number of companies that our students have been placed in the previous few days itself. We are continuously updating these lists as well. We have students placed in Flipkart. We have almost 100 students placed in TCS, 120 students placed in Infosys and Salesforce and other companies as well. So I'm extremely proud of our graduates who have shown that it's even though if you are from a tier 2 or a tier 3 college as well, you can easily bag one of the best placements in the entire world. So we are extremely proud of them. And yeah, so that is it. I thought that I should share this with you guys so that you guys are also getting the motivation that is needed. Like it is not necessary that if you are not from a good college, you will not get placed. Okay. Placement is something that is subjective to how well you are doing in the program itself. So these students were a part of our training and internship program. Of course, we helped them get the placements as well. But yeah, nothing is impossible. If you're working hard, if you are really focusing upon what you want to achieve, you will be able to get into the best companies in the entire world. Okay. Let's show the attendance link for today. Okay, you can take the screenshot for the same. This is the attendance link for today. Please take a screenshot for the same. This is a YouTube video. If you are skipping if I'm moving my screen from here to somewhere else, if you're not able to see the attendance link, you can just rewind a bit and you can just take a screenshot later on as well. Okay, but please fill up the attendance link by 24 hours, that is before the start of the next bootcamp. Okay, that is tomorrow at 9:30 we'll be having our bootcamp on Python and deep learning. So please be ready about the same. Okay. Okay. For getting an internship in any company, there are two things that are absolutely essential. Okay, if you're talking about big companies itself, first one is that you should be skilled. Okay, you should know what you're doing. Okay, it shouldn't be the case that you actually don't know the topic and you're just saying that okay, I know C++ and now I'm going to get placed in Google. That is not going to be the case. You'll have to know a particular skill in depth. Only then you will be able to get into a good company. The second thing is these companies expect you to at least have some kind of prior experience in the industry. So free internships or something like that, paid internships, try to do that. Okay, get some experience under your belt, learn the skills properly, and in that particular, so all these students were actually a part of our training and internship programs. So like we helped them get the placements, we trained them, we gave them the experience, the projects that they are needed, we helped them with their resumes. And of course, when you're learning from a particular person from Google, then it's easier to crack Google at the end of the day. Okay. Immutable and everything we'll be discussing it tomorrow. Like I said, everything is like line by line. I only discuss it if and only if we have reached that point where you have understood all the concepts related to like to help me explain you immutability and ordered sequence as well. Okay. Okay, thank you so much guys, have a good day ahead. We'll meet tomorrow at 10:30. Okay, and do like the video guys, do like the video, it really helps us a lot. Okay, thank you so much guys, thank you.